commercials. We in the winning circle. Yeah, we in the winning circle.
Hey everybody, John Newman here, and welcome to episode number 4 of Welcome to the Machine. And guys, it's every time I do this, I can feel my heart beating and I'm kind of crazy and kind of pumped up. But it just keeps getting better and better and better. And thank you all out there that are watching for all of the love. I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised that the engagement is high, and hopefully everybody out there that's watching this is finding a lot of value. We have a great episode tonight featuring a young guy named Arne Giske, originally from Seattle, and now he's moved to Colombia, South America, which is really, really cool, and he's got an awesome story. And once again, guys, thank you for the love. Check us out on iTunes. The bigger we can build this audience and build this community, the more value we can deliver to everybody. So check us out on iTunes, subscribe to us. Once again, we're on Newmanites on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. But without further ado, we got this main man out here, Arne. Arne, how you doing tonight?
Hey, doing good, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. Excited to bring it big time.
Yeah, Arne, so, it's just like a lot of the guests, and it's the crazy thing about, and once again, I'm only 25 years old. Well, 45, I'll be 45. But with social media, we have the ability to truly connect with so many different people from so many different walks of life. And that's how I found you. I was looking at some stuff for on how to build sales funnels, and somehow your name kept popping up. So I reached out to you, and then here we are. So, Arne, what's your story, man?
Oh yeah, it goes back pretty far. It goes back pretty deep. But we'll start out with kind of the qualities that led me up to being where I am. Number 1 being stubborn, number 2 being creative, and number 3 being very hardworking and tenacious. So that sounds like the ingredients of an entrepreneur to you, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, Lord knows, I'm sure my wife is watching. I'm a little stubborn. If I wasn't stubborn, we wouldn't be married right now. I didn't give up.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's a powerful characteristic when applied correctly. So that's kind of the my building blocks, and kind of how I knew that I would never be able to kind of fit to this path that so many people subscribe to and submit to. So I knew I had to figure out how to make one of my crazy business ideas work, so that I could kind of design the life that I wanted to live, and that's exactly what I've been able to do. So right now I'm out in Medellin, Colombia. Let me just pick up the laptop for you guys. I'm gonna see if you guys can see my view. Let's see.
Isn't that where the cartels are, Arne?
Oh no, not anymore. Oh, you just see the reflection. But I got this beautiful big top floor apartment that probably costs the same as rent in a cardboard box in San Francisco. So it's cheap out here, but it's nice luxury and quality, and I get to do all this amazing fun stuff, and hang out, work out here, and continue building my business.
Now, how did you end up? So, how old are you, Arne? By the way,
I'm 23. All
right, and Arne, you have the script that I gave you for the questions I'm going to ask, right?
Nope.
Yeah, because you have no idea what I'm going to ask. That's what makes this so cool. Is that
absolutely, yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to go down this bunny trail and just see where it ends up. So you grow up in Seattle. You're 24 years old. Like, walk us back through this journey towards entrepreneurship. And when I was reaching out to you, I saw this thing called digital nomad. Like, I thought it was really, really cool. Like, how did you get to that place? Like,
yeah, great question. So I remember this was my first year of college. I was studying some business. I was learning a ton, really kind of diving into a lot of self-guided learning, reading all the articles, listening to all the podcasts and everything. And I was looking for a job at the time, some kind of way to make some money. And I had some contacts. I had, a couple interviews, some places I applied to. And I was scrolling through my phone to call one of these guys back. And so I came across a name, and I stopped dead in my tracks, and I was like, maybe I should pursue this. So the name was Mike Pedicab. So I don't know if any of you guys out there know what pedicab is. It's like the rickshaws that they have out in Asia. It's three-wheeled bikes. So I had gotten a ride from one of these pedicab guys at a Mariners game out in Seattle. And I was really curious, is this something I could do? So I just gave him a call, rang him up, said, hey, I'm curious about what you've got going on. Are you guys taking on more riders? So I just had a quick conversation with him. He invited me to the shop. I checked it out and I gave it a shot. So that was my very first business at age 18. I got my shiny business license and felt ready to roll. So with a business like that, you rent the bikes and then you go out for as many or as few hours as you want. You hustle as hard as you can. You charge what you want, and you just have to figure out how to make it work, or you fail. So it was amazing training for a few different kind of skills in entrepreneurship. Really, the hustle, the mindset, the sales, the customer service, and really kind of designing how to be successful with this business. So I did that for a couple summers, and it was a ton of fun. So it was crazy.
So basically, you were like an Uber driver, but with a bicycle.
Exactly. Yeah. Big giant tricycle, and we would take tourists around. We would drive them around the Seahawks field, or around downtown, waterfront, any of that kind of stuff. And the cool part about it was, being an 18-year-old, it's hard to get a job that would pay you much more than minimum wage, So I ended up making like 5 times what my friends were making, because you can, hustle these rides, and if you get a busy sports game, you're coming home with a giant wad of cash at the end of the night. So it really kind of opened my eyes to how you can be more valuable, and that you don't have to submit to getting an hourly wage to make good money.
So did you have any type of, so what I'm hearing is, and this is, I think, very, very valuable for anyone out in the audience. Some people probably got the pedicab and they just did what they were supposed to do. And then there's probably some people that said, okay, how do I figure out the market? How do I figure out how this works? So if I can identify when there are sporting events and I have a shtick, or I have something to draw attention to myself, you can actually manipulate the system so it's in your favor. Is that kind of what the process you went through?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Really kind of figuring out everything from pricing to routes to, what you're willing to put up with or not, kind of how to design the entire business activity of it. Wow. So it was amazing in that sense. It was tons of fun, but I knew it was impossible to scale unless I started my own pedicab shop, which I created a business plan for, but never ended up following through with that. It would have been a whole nother chapter, would have kept me grounded in Seattle. So I skipped on that plan.
So you're in college, you're now in this pedicab business. Mm-hmm. What happens next? Where do you go?
What happens next? So I ended up, taking some more business classes, really trying to dive in, learning a lot more about marketing and sales and just as many topics as I could soak up. I was such a sponge, because nothing really lit me up like learning about how people run businesses and market and sell things. It always kind of intrigued me. So after I got out of college, I ended up working for an insurance company. It was a multi-level marketing company, and they hit all the right buttons on me to make me want to sign up. And they talked about the flexibility. They talked about it's not salary. You can have a high income if you do this right. So I really saw it as an opportunity to develop personally and professionally. And really, really step my game up and my skills up, and make some money coming out of college. So that was the idea coming into it. I'm not sure how much experience you have with multi-level marketing, but it doesn't always turn out that way, right?
Well, so here's, and a lot of people have their opinions on multi-level marketing, and I've been involved in a few, only because I sold water. Like my neighbor told me that there was some miracle water one, and I forget. I'm still on the email list from them. ASEA was the name. It's some miracle water that will make you live longer and cure acne and do all this stuff. And I literally, my neighbor came over and said, "Hey, John, there's this great business opportunity. It's this miracle water." And I said, "Hey, Scott, how much do you need me to buy?" So I literally bought 2 cases of this water, signed up, and did anything with it. But I have been around enough people in the business world that have been in multi-level marketing. And a lot of people, there are a lot of negative comments on that. But here's what I've seen. Most of the people that have been involved in MLM still walked away. They may not have made money, but they walked away. If they were engaged, if they dived into it, they probably walked away with some value still. They probably learned whether it's personal development, it's networking, it's how to build a network, how to build a team. I'm not a negative person on MLM because I think it's a way to start a business and to get into the business entrepreneur world with low barriers to entry.
Absolutely.
And from what I've seen, yeah, it's just like any other business. You know, probably 20% of the people make 80% of the money, which is the same for every business. So, did you learn anything from that? Was that did you find that was a valuable experience?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it was. All right.
Yeah. I did make money too, not as much as I was hoping or as much as they were telling me I'm going to make. But I don't regret the experience at all. It seriously made me aware of a lot of things and brought me through so many experiences that were, extremely challenging, that helped my sales skills, my perseverance, kind of the whole entrepreneurial mindset. Because when it's tough in any business, you're really being dragged through the gutters, and you have to figure out how to hop back up and keep writing. Yeah. So that's what I had to do a few times there. It was ups and downs, sales and draughts, and it was very tough. So I absolutely grew a lot in that setting, and it was completely opposite of pedicab in terms of the formality. So I was selling insurance where you would have to talk about medical history and take a mouth swab and hang out in someone's house for an hour and a half before we get an application in, instead of just riding down the street and saying, "Hey, do you want to ride? Where are you guys going?" "No." "Okay, cool, keep going." So it was 2 complete different sides of the spectrum there, and it really kind of broadened my horizons a lot. And one of the biggest takeaways I had was that you really, really have to be very, very careful about who you work with, why you're doing it, why things might or might not work. So it really brought me to be a lot more analytical with everything I did in business, and that was something that I carried with me and still do. About decision making. So once I I learned a lot, but I did kind of get burned by the experience. So I figured out how to make better decisions going forward, and that has served me in a million different ways since then.
Wow. So at this point in time, when you're with the insurance, did you're not in college anymore? And I don't know much about your family background, but were your parents okay with this decision, or were they not involved?
They were wary at first, because I think they had seen other things like this, probably the Tupperware parties and all that. Yeah. But they kind of what I really appreciate about my parents is they kind of let me roll with these decisions I make, because they know I'm going to take something from the experience.
Nice.
So they kind of let things like that happen. They're not going to say, no, you can't do this, or no, you really shouldn't do this. Like they'll talk to me about it, have good discussions and everything. But ultimately it's my decision, and it's really great how they kind of they're cool with that. They understand my need for independence, and they kind of always did since I was younger as well. So they saw that stubbornness and that rebelliousness in me.
And that rebellion, and that's unusual. I mean, for not unusual, but I think there are a lot of parents out there that, are, and I'm a parent myself, so I get it. I think I know what's best for my children, but at the same time, I'm a big believer in playing towards their strengths and pushing them towards their strengths, my kids, and not necessarily worrying about, what their weaknesses are. So let's go all in on our strengths and pushing them towards these experiences, because you would probably agree now that whether it was the pedicab or the MLM, with what you learned in college, where did you get the most value? Was it college, or was it going and failing forward in these businesses?
Oh yeah, absolutely doing and failing forward, because you can read an article about Blockbuster failing. You can read an article about somebody who did their taxes wrong and got burned by the IRS. You can study about that. You can go through all these hypothetical or even real life scenarios for other people. But if you didn't really go through that yourself and experience that whole journey of the failures and the wins and the progress and the people involved, you really don't get to take away those same lessons. So I had somebody in my group the other day ask, I'm thinking about getting an MBA in marketing. Does anyone know any good schools, or should I keep going on this path? And I had to chime in. It's like, you can pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for an MBA to get a piece of paper, or you can go out and you can start making some paper like tomorrow. So, what are you going to choose, man? You want to go hundreds of thousands in debt to possibly have a skill that might be marketable in, the next 5 years that you finish this thing? Or do you want to figure out how to make it happen? Because I'm a young guy. I had to really just dive in head first with all of this and make it happen. And I learned by just going all out and really getting some amazing training from some amazing people, and really skilling up, leveling up, growing my network, growing my abilities. And I haven't been doing this forever, as you guys can tell, but I've gotten to a level of success that I'm very happy with, just by going all in. So that's me. I started my agency a year and a half ago. And then this guy could still be taking his MBA until 2023. Right. So it's that decision of, do you want to dive in, or do you want to kind of play it safe and then hope you can go to an employer and say, hey, I have this piece of paper that says I know a few things.
And that's once again, I think it's the power. And first of all, let me just announce to the audience, if anybody has any questions, please put them on Facebook. Our producer, Jeff Tucker, will toss them out to us, and we'll try and get to them as quickly as we can. So any questions out there, put them on Facebook, and we'll get to them as they come. But that's the cool thing about, and I hate using the word social media because it sounds weird, especially coming from a 44-year-old. But our marketplace today, that we have the ability to connect so many people. And
absolutely.
If I'm great at something, regardless of whether or not I have a college degree, if I'm freaking awesome at something, I can get to anybody today. Like if I want a job at Google, I have, and I'm a good developer, I have the ability to get in front of people now because I can show my value. Like, I don't need a college degree if I got 1 million YouTube subscribers. Like, I can go to somebody, some media company, I know how it works. They're going to hire me over somebody that has a college degree that says, okay, you have a degree in marketing, big deal. What have you done with it? Well, I've done nothing, but I've got 4 years of college. I mean, good luck. So how did you get involved? You went to insurance. So what happens next? I mean,
yeah. So after insurance, I had all these kind of, thoughts running through my head of, what was coming up next, what could I do? And I ended up figuring out, okay, I want to get into online business somehow. I don't know exactly what, I don't know exactly how. So my plan was to create kind of like a services hub. I still have the domain today called topstartupservices.com. It's nothing's there, so don't go there. But the idea there was to pull together tons of freelancers and service providers, kind of like Upwork, but really focusing on startups.
Okay.
And be able to hook them up with people who would hire them, and then have this kind of community of all these hustlers and these freelancers kind of talking to each other on forums. So that was the grand scheme of things. And I had to figure out how to create a WordPress site, had to figure out how to do email marketing, and really build a site on my own. So I'm not a developer. I don't do website design, but I was able to completely DIY this WordPress website, and it was a total piece of crap, but it kind of worked. So taking that and then hopping into some of these social media channels and saying, hey, I'm working on this platform where freelancers can, they can get hired, and we can go talk about entrepreneurship and all this. So I had a few dozen people on there, and that's the easy part, getting all the freelancers on there. Hey, we might have work for you.
Right.
Yeah, right. Sign me up. And I could never really put too much traction behind it and get enough employers on there. So it died off very shortly after. But what I had then was this kind of base experience of web design, a bit of digital marketing, email marketing, and a few other things. And I was able to bring that to a friend of mine who had an agency, who wanted some help with his business development. So out of everyone who wanted to work for him selling some of his services, I was the only person with sales experience that knew how to talk about websites. Mm-hmm. So I was a natural fit, and I was working for him for a couple of months, and we got a couple of deals in, and so I didn't make any money with that freelance service one. That was a big bust. It was a big learning experience. But my very first sale in online business was for my friend's agency, and it was a $15,000 mobile app project. So it blew me away, seeing that kind of money being transferred across the states. I had a business partner in North Carolina, a client in Boston, and here I am just making phone calls and getting these deals done, and it just completely blew my mind. So I knew there was a lot more to be had, and I knew that there was a big opportunity out there for me to do this and make it work. So at that point, I decided to hire some more of my own contractors and be kind of like the business development person for my own agency, and have a team building up. We had a few different services and really just kind of dived in. So that was my real first formal online business where I actually make money. It's not just a failed blog and community site. But I took that experience from the previous one and just really figured out how to kind of build this up to a certain point. And then later on, I was making some money. We're getting some deals in, providing work for the team. And it was really kind of scattered. Because I thought it would be a smart idea to just, have freelancers on call for like every little service. So I could, get a commission on the deals and hook these people up with work and hook up these employers with the services they needed. But the big mistake I had there was I was trying to serve everybody with, a full service agency.
Right. So
the big problem there was we didn't have amazing processes for each service or for each partner, to get them started. So the biggest challenge for me was the sales and the onboarding. And that was my only job as a business development person. Like, these guys were great at what they did, but I had trouble because I couldn't. It was basically like starting, 6 businesses at once because I had all these different arms of the business and these different services, and the focus kept switching around. So I finally understood that and really decided to change it up, narrow down, who I was working with, what we did, and decided that I needed to skill up as well. So I had to figure out, how I could take these previous skills I had, and then build on top of that to be able to provide huge, huge value, so that I wouldn't need, 4 times the amount of deals to make that money with commissions. It was things that I could provide, things that I could be very knowledgeable on and add a ton of value with. So that's when I made the jump into Facebook ads and sales funnels, because I just saw the tremendous amount of value people could bring with that. If you can really create an amazing sales funnel and drive qualified traffic to it, like, that's game changing for any business. Yeah. So that was kind of my epiphany about, okay. So I figured that out when I created my very first sales funnel very early in my agency. I set up, an opt-in, a few email follow-ups, and I sold a tripwire, and then I sold a $600 setup plan for something. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I got people pulled into this, and somebody signed up for this $600 thing without me having to hop on the phone with them. So I understood the power of that, and I really wanted to figure out how to take that to another level. So it brought me into building out more funnels and Facebook ad campaigns for myself and my business, and then later on offering that as a service.
So Arne, just for anyone that's watching out here that may not know what exactly a sales funnel is, can you walk them through? Because here's what's happening in business and once again, I'm a little bit older, but my first job out of college, I was a stockbroker. I actually started as a stockbroker, then was a financial advisor. And my sales manager, after I got my required licenses, said, okay, and I'm all excited. I have my licenses. I'm thinking I'm going to start managing people's money and stuff. And my sales manager, Mike Bitterly, comes to me, and I'm like, well, I went to him, and I'm like, Mike, okay, I'm live. I'm excited. I'm ready to go out there and take on the world. What do I do now? And he says, here's the white pages. Start with, and here's a script. Start with A. When you get to Z, come back and see me. So in the old days, and it still happens sometimes today, but that's how we built businesses. Like, that's how you built books of business. Tell us what a sales funnel is, because it's similar but different. So can you walk the audience quickly?
So a sales funnel is what I want to do to save you from having to dial through that phone book.
Right.
Basically, it's figuring out how to put the right bait in front of the right people, so that they become a lead, so that they start ascending your value ladder, checking out your offers, checking out your services and products. In the old school sense, if your grandma gets a flyer from the laundromat and says, hey, we've got a deal this next week, come on and stop by. There's your bait. There was the funnel. There was her action. She sees the flyer, checks it out. Oh, I want that. Goes in. Now it just turns digital with the ability to do that in a lot of different formats. How to put the exact right bait in front of the right people. So this applies for so many industries. And a lot of people are figuring out how to adopt this. And I think that's awesome. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't adopting it and doing it right. So that's one thing I'm super happy to be able to help a lot of people on as a consultant, and just seeing how to really dial in on what their customers and their clients' pain points are, through some pretty extensive research, and then turning their words into your ad copy, into your lead magnet titles, into all that bait that just makes them think that's exactly what I want. Where do I go? What do I do next? So once you have that amazing bait, whatever that be, that could be a free video, PDF, a coupon for a $20 massage or something like that. It pulls in the exact people that you want to work with, So when you see people, they're like, oh, we're going to do an open house today, and we're going to give away a free iPhone. It's like everybody in the whole neighborhood is going to come and try and get that free iPhone. but that does not mean they are one bit qualified to want to check out that house. So if you said something like, hey, so what we're going to do is give you a free download of the floor plan and a neighborhood guide. Pop your email in to get it. Nobody wants that unless they're seriously considering buying that house. So it's figuring out how to put those right types of bait in front of the right types of people through using things like Facebook targeting and different organic methods. So once you have those two elements, it becomes so much more effortless. You know, you're attracting the right people. They're more qualified to get whatever it is that you're selling, and it's automated. It's awesome. You know, no more pounding the phones, no more direct mailers, no more buying advertising on benches. You know, this is a machine that runs on autopilot and gives you an email when somebody pops their name, email, and phone number in. So it's really cool to be able to see this work in so many different industries, from, you know, small service-based things, products. There's just a million applications for it, and really figuring out how to dial in that process is a huge challenge. And I'm just really glad I'm able to help people with that and get them up to speed with building out their funnels and campaigns quicker.
Now, and once again, I'm just going to try and reduce it to simple forms. You know, I'm a financial advisor. I'm going back, 20 years now. Instead of me cold calling the white pages, where I might be 90% of my calls might be to people that have no money, a sales funnel. And this is also the value. If someone wants to understand the value of Facebook, the value of Facebook is it has the information, it has the data. So now what you're saying is you create ad copy or create a Facebook ad to target the people that fit my demographics, fit my criteria of what I'm looking for in a buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two different types of targeting that I think are extremely powerful. First off, that data and those demographics, it gets crazy ridiculous. You can see people's online shopping habits. Do they have a Jeep or a Cadillac? What do they like? Golf? Do they like football? What are they even, how much money do they make? They can guess all of this somewhat accurately because they have so much data that you give Facebook first off. And then after that, they buy third-party data from other places to fill in those gaps. So Facebook kind of recognized that if they could get the most data in the world on everybody, it would become the most powerful advertising platform out there, which it is. And that's why I think it's beating out some of the other social media platforms at the moment, because of that data they have. And I think Facebook's revenue is like 90% advertising. So it's just crazy that they were able to win so big and make it so effective for the advertisers as well.
And it's interesting because I remember when Facebook went public, shortly thereafter, everyone was saying that Facebook is having problems. They're not generating the ad revenue that they were projecting. Will this company go away? And I think most people now will say that Facebook's just getting, if you listen to Zuckerberg, Facebook's just getting started. Like, they're just getting started right now, guys. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook buys a cell tower, or because the only thing that limits their ability is people across the world having access to the internet. So they, in essence, could buy internet service providers and just give away the internet for free. Because they're going to make the money in the advertising in the end. So I wouldn't be, I don't know if that's going to happen. That's just John's crystal ball.
Oh no, your crystal ball is right. So they're actually doing that. They're basically doing that in India right now. So they're figuring out how to basically run planes that beam out Wi-Fi all over India. So you're exactly right. They don't have Facebook there. So they want to put Facebook there. So no better way to do that than hooking everyone up with internet. So you are right on target.
Yeah. So we'll all have free internet one day.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, Arne, we have a question from Eric Ortego. And his question is, what do you find most rewarding about what you do now?
Most rewarding about what I do now. Eric, great question. So I was just chatting with Eric a little while ago. He's got a cool project in the works. But yeah, what do I find most rewarding about what I do now? I think one thing that's really, really cool about what I'm able to do with, not just the business, but the community I run, Millennial Entrepreneur Community, just over 7,000 members. I'm super excited for that. Is being able to add value to people at scale and really put out content and examples and motivation and action steps that are changing people's lives. Like I told you, I'm a young guy. I haven't been doing this forever, but I figured out how to make it work, and I figured out how to dive in and start creating this life. And now that I'm living it, people don't think I'm so crazy anymore, And so I think the most rewarding thing is being able to see the impact that, my story has made, and the community that I'm able to foster and bring all these amazing people together and show them what's possible. So I absolutely love that about what I do is, getting those messages. Like I got one a while back from a guy I hadn't heard from in like 2 years. I had known him in high school, and he said, Arne, man, like I can't appreciate what you do enough with your podcast. I've been listening since like day one, and it inspired me to start my business. He had listened to what I was saying, what all my guests were saying, and their transformational stories about how they came from, just an idea. And he had this idea to start a videography business. And a few months later, he had a bunch of clients. He was doing good. And he hadn't even talked to me about it until then. So I was just so hyped to hear that, and glad that I was able to be a part of that journey for him and so many other people.
Now, is that, so what you're saying is that the providing of value to other people and seeing them grow gives you a tremendous amount of value. I'm a big believer that the more people you get together in a community to foster ideas and, foster what's going on, the better that we all become. So to get, together, everybody achieves more. And is that what you're seeing in your community?
Oh, absolutely. I can't be everything to everyone. No one can, but I'm able to bring in a lot of amazing experts. We do weekly guest live streams in there. We always have people showing up, adding tips, adding value, helping other members out. And the coolest thing for me about Facebook groups, and this is even before I started my own, was the ability to network with anyone, anywhere. And that was just hugely powerful, because number one, you can do it for free. So when I had, this zero revenue little startup blog that I was trying to do, I was still able to make tons of connections, reach a lot of people, and try and get some things rolling. So I was able to use Facebook groups, especially for the business groups, as a foundation for my network of awesome online entrepreneurs that are around the world. So it was really cool to be able to get into that a while ago and then start my own community. And the other cool power of the online networking and the Facebook groups is you have friends all over the world. Like I'm coming back from Colombia on April 11th, so very soon here, and I'm stopping off in Florida. We're gonna do a meetup of some of my group members. We're gonna go out in Tampa, then also out in Orlando. I am gonna hang out with a ton of marketers at Dan Hender's AdCon conference. Then stopping in Atlanta for a day. We're gonna host another event up there with some group members. Then one more in LA, and one more in Santa Barbara. I've got some friends and family out there too. Then finally back to Seattle. So these are all people that I've ended up meeting online in one way or another, and finally ending up connecting with them in person. So it's really crazy the kind of relationships you can build over time. And then when you show up and shake hands, it's like you guys have been friends for months.
Right. And you never know from those relationships, you never know what type of opportunities come through those relationships.
Yeah, you really never know.
I mean, and that's that's the fascinating thing for me is I have the ability to connect with people from all over the world if I choose to engage with them. Now, there's some of us out there that use Facebook and we kind of just use it we don't use it as the tool that it can be used as. I think it's one of the best business tools that are available for building any type of business because we can connect with people everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to ClickFunnels, is that applicable? And once again, this is just for the audience. Is that applicable for any type of business? Like if I'm a contractor, can I use a ClickFunnels? I own a painting company.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So I'm in talks with a guy. They do cement patios and driveways and stuff like that, and figuring out how we can run a campaign for him. So, excuse me. Number one is figuring out, what do we want to put out there as the bait? Like I said earlier, that perfect bait. So figuring out how to show off his best work and his company's ability to create these amazing, great looking driveways and staircases and all this other stuff in like a video ad. And then we'll have a sample of, so many of those people will watch a certain percentage of the video. And then we're going to retarget them with an offer to, get your consultation, get yourself a quote. So what we'll do there is we'll bring them to a page in ClickFunnels that will have a little bit more info and then a lead capture. So it'll have name, email, phone number, and then say, put your info in to receive a quote. So they hit that, then it goes to the next page, and then it lets them, hop on a call or even automatically submit some more information about the job they want done to get that quote and start that relationship with the customer. So it can absolutely work for plenty of businesses. It's just that a lot of people haven't adopted it or figured out how to adopt it yet.
Is it and this is just your opinion, do you think that that's a function of them just not understanding how it works? Especially, look at my age group. If you go to my demographics and say, okay, I have this marketing idea, we're going to create ClickFunnels. A lot of my demographics, no matter what industry I'm in, they're not going to understand that because we weren't taught this stuff growing up in business.
Yeah.
Of the demographics and trying to educate these business owners on how it works in today's digital world.
Yeah, so it can definitely be a challenge, especially when there can definitely be a mindset of we've always done it this way. But I think that's kind of a lazy way to think. If there are all these new tools out here that we can turn on a campaign, turn on an ad, create a funnel, and all of a sudden your phone is ringing off the hook, then why would you really be stuck on using postcards? Right. So it's all about educating them on what the results could be, and some people are just, it's not going to appeal to them. They have ways of doing things, they're established, and they don't feel the need to do it. But there's a lot of people that know the power of social media. They know that it can bring in a lot of people. They're just not sure, which way to apply it and which way is actually going to get results. Quick note on that, anyone watching this that hasn't messed with too much advertising, boosting posts does not equal Facebook advertising, and it will waste all your money. So that's just Facebook way. That's like Facebook sticking their hat out and asking for some money. It's like you might show up to a few more people on your page, and chances are you invited all your friends and family to that page. They already know what you do. You're not really going after new customers. And that's where all that crazy targeting comes into place. So you have to really figure out how to do it effectively if you're going to do it. And don't boost a post for $20, have it fail, and then say Facebook ads don't work.
So part of learning this, and I think it's in this show, this is our 4th episode of the show. Every time I have no expectations that I'm going to get on here and all of a sudden we're going to have millions of viewers. Like, I'd be a fool to think that. This is a long game. It's a long-term process where most people give up is they give up too early. It's like, okay, well, I tried it 5 times. It doesn't work. It's you fail forward. And every time you fail, you learn something more. So is that
Absolutely
that how you taught yourself basically ClickFunnels? It's just through failing?
yes and no. So one thing I was very fortunate to have was kind of how I failed forward very early in my agency. But what I didn't get that I should have got earlier was better mentorship and training. So as I understood the ability to, learn something up to a certain point and outsource it if that's not what we're good at, or really just pound the pavement and train super hard and figure out really how to run things, like that has been my superpower. Because when I get the training from some of the higher level guys, like my mentors, Dan Henry, read all of Russell Brunson's stuff, and a few other guys that have helped me out along the way, it starts you off so many levels ahead of people that it hugely accelerates your progress. And I had been fortunate enough that I haven't had a 9 to 5. I had a lot more time to dedicate to this and then really go all in and make it work. So that dedication made my progress just completely accelerate, got my skills up a whole lot faster, and I was able to turn around and bring that value that I learned and practiced to my clients.
That's interesting. And once again, I think it's the amazing thing about business today is how you can learn exponentially faster, reach out to people and find mentors, but so few people do. Like so few people go out and research, okay, who are the top people in my industry? Let me go out and try and connect with them and figure out what they're doing well. And then most of them will talk to you. Like, most successful people want to talk to other people because they had someone that mentored them. And it sounds like you've done it. What do you think holds most people back from doing that? Especially in your age group, what prevents other people from doing this?
I'd say the two big things. The number one poison being they don't fully believe in their abilities to make this real. And if you kind of are poisoned with that mindset, you're never going to actually take the action you need to make it real. But if there's something that's just burning up inside of you saying, I need to figure out how to make this happen, or else I get a job, or else I live this life that I don't want to live. If you don't have that fire that's pushing you and that desire to really create and make it work, you're already stopped in your tracks. So I hate to see that, and that's what I am trying to counteract with my group, showing people how many other young entrepreneurs out there are doing it and making it happen in relatively short periods of time. So that's awesome. And the number two thing I think is really just the dedication to seriously skilling up. Like you said, some people, they might try things a few times, and then they fail, and then they say, oh, nope, not for me, on to the next one. And they might try the next thing, and oh, I'm a drop shipper now. Oh, I do this. I'm a business coach now. And they keep hopping all over instead of building on that foundation that they started with. And that's really what's helped me make a lot bigger impact and a lot more progress over the last couple of years, was figuring out which of those foundations I could continue building on that would help bring what I do to the next level over time. So that's kind of what advice I would give to people is, even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in online business when I started my little crappy blog, I knew those skills could be carried forward. And, a few years back, I was watching MailChimp tutorials, and now people pay me to set up their email marketing systems for their funnels, So it's those things that you can just take from those previous experiences and apply them going forward. So figuring out what kind of stackable skills you have that will help you level up as a business owner is amazing. And really just diving in, there's so many things you have to learn and implement and practice as an entrepreneur. And there's no better way to do it than just getting your feet wet and just going for it. You learn so much more in the process than, like we said, than an MBA or something like that. It's like if you actually have to set up an accounting system and figure out how to outsource and launch a campaign and do all these things, you don't have to be a total professional at it, but you need to know how they work and how to get it done.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I tell people is like, you're not going to learn your way to success. Like you have to take action. So it's like you might learn something new, and then you take action. You reevaluate what you learn, reevaluate the results, learn something new, take action, but you keep moving forward. Like you have to keep moving forward. You can't just sit back and think about it. I mean, I'll be here until I'm 90 years old if I want to just read books, and I've got to do something though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to take action. So if there's something that somebody's fascinated with, or they think they have an interest in, or they think they can turn it into an opportunity, then go do it. Like go do something. Don't just sit back and think about it and research. Because the market moves too fast. The market moves. By the time you're researching it, somebody else has already taken action, and you're behind. So how did you get to Colombia? Like, that's a
great
cool
question.
Story. Like Seattle, and then all of a sudden you're in Cartagena, Colombia?
Medellin, Colombia, yeah. And so I coming into starting my agency, I knew that the whole laptop lifestyle thing was a possibility. So I wanted to figure out how to make it happen, how to make it real. And I, designed my business in a way that would allow me to do that, by focusing on working on different online things, having a few different income streams that I didn't need to be stuck in Seattle for, and really kind of building it backwards from there and growing the business. So I actually wanted to go to Spain last summer and live over there for a couple of months, give the whole nomad thing a shot. And I was excited to try and make that happen. And unfortunately, at the time, a very big deal fell through. It was a multiple 5-figure mobile app deal. Tons of people involved. We were very deep in this process, and it fell apart. So I was kind of hoping to have that money for the trip and a buffer in case anything happened, in case I had a slow month or something. So it didn't go through, but so this is really crazy. This is actually something I haven't announced yet, but I'm super excited for. So that was about a year ago, right? So I wanted to figure out how to go to Spain and do this digital nomad thing. And so I just found out in the last couple of days, I got invited to speak at a digital nomad boot camp and conference in Barcelona, Spain.
Unbelievable.
This August. Yeah, like all expenses, like flight out there and speak at this conference. So that's another testament, guys. That's 1 year. 1 year. So I'm super excited for that. And just to show you guys, that's the short time span these crazy things can happen. So back to that, so the first time I didn't go to Spain, that fell through, and then went to the back of my head. All right, so I still want to go travel. I want to figure out how to make this happen. And fall rolled around. The business was going a little better. Things were picking up. So I felt a lot more comfortable getting out of town. And at that point, I thought, all right, now's the time. I had to figure out how to make this real. So I started talking to some friends. One of my friend, Caitlin Cardoza, she has been all over the place. I think she's like in Hawaii right now. She's like hops on a live stream every day, just having the time of her life and building her business too. So she inspired me to make the jump and travel. And another buddy of mine, he lived in Colombia a year ago. And he was able to quit his job, really start out with, next to zero of a business, live spending pesos and earning a few dollars doing his web design thing. And, he was down there for a few months, and he knew it was make it or break it. So huge shout out to my guy, Matt Cohn. He's actually coming to Colombia next week, round 2, I guess. So yeah, he made it happen big time, and his business has blown up in a huge way over this last year because he took that big crazy leap. So he's the one that recommended I check out Colombia, and the more that I looked into it, the more awesome it seemed in every way. You know, it's not narcos and drug infested and a bunch of violence. Like, that's kind of an older stereotype, and especially because, you know, Pablo Escobar is out on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that that's kind of like the first thing that comes to mind for them. But, you know, the more that you look into it, you realize it's like an amazing city. The people are awesome. They're friendly. Pretty good weather for the most part. They call it the city of eternal spring. Like average temperature about 70 year round. And it's just a great place to be at. And it's a very cool vibe as well. So been here for 2.5 months now. I've got 2 weeks left, and it feels like I've been here for a year, but it also feels like it just flew by. So I'm very grateful to have the experience, and you know, continue to growing the business from here and continue traveling, and have this be my first digital nomad journey.
Wow. So where have you thought about where you're going next?
Yeah. So I'll be doing going to Florida on the way back, and then the Atlanta, LA, Santa Barbara to see some other members of my group, going to a marketing conference in Florida, seeing some family. Then I'll be back in Seattle for a bit. And then there's another conference in New York I want to check out in June called Next Gen Summit. Yeah. And after that will be the Digital Nomad Conference over in Barcelona. So I'm not just going to go for those 2 weeks. I'm going to stay. I'm going to hang out for at least 2 months and just enjoy the time over there and continue the journey. I'll probably end up back in Medellin in next winter, so we'll see.
and that's what I absolutely love is when I think of entrepreneurship and businesses, you know, the purpose of these businesses or business is to really fund like whatever our definition of a perfect life is. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're doing that. It's like, okay, you've figured out a way that you can create an income to live a pretty cool life. And mm-hmm. I think that's just a pretty cool thing. What advice would you give to other 18-year-olds because here's what I see a lot, Arne, you know, whether they're in college or they just graduate from college in this millennial or Generation Z generation, they're still a little bit, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. You know, mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone that I'm just not sure what I want to do?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. And one thing I see a lot of people do, even these billionaires, you know, they have something that's kind of like a vehicle that they use to really accomplish their bigger goals and dreams. Kind of like you were saying to me the other day, and looking at how these people figure out how to use these skills and develop these companies and businesses, or even, you know, just a one-man show to make enough money that they are more comfortable doing the other things that they really want to do. So really figuring out how to skill up and create that income with something that you're really good at. You know, you don't have to, you know, enjoy it forever or do it forever, but you want it to be something where you can just provide a ton of value that you do really enjoy doing, but it doesn't have to be, you know, your number one passion. Because unfortunately, the number one passion doesn't always make money. Right. Or if you decide that you want your number one passion to make money, it becomes about making money instead of just having the passion. So that's another kind of pitfall I've seen from people like that really want to figure out how to monetize their passion, is it becomes their job and their business to do that instead of, you know, saying, let's say if I was a painter and I wanted to become a full-time painter, I would have to start having these crazy connections in the art world, building out my name, really trying to sell my art and everything like that. And it removes so much of the the joy of painting if I was a painter. So figuring out how you can do both and use one thing as a vehicle and still pursue whatever it is that just lights you up every day. I'd say that would be my advice.
Dude, I think that's awesome. And being just a little bit older, I can tell you factually that coming out of college, I wanted to be a stockbroker because I saw that they made a lot of money and was relatively successful at that. But I really wasn't happy with my job. Pursued another passion, which was real estate, which ultimately I pursued that in the beginning because I wanted to make money, and then had some failures at that as well. Then I got my real estate and became a real estate agent, but I failed into that. Like I never wanted to be a real estate agent. Like the woman that got me into real estate from a real estate brokerage side, first day that we met, she was like, okay, you have a real estate license. What do you want to do? I said, I have no idea because I don't want to work with buyers and I don't want to work with sellers. But it became a vehicle. It became a vehicle to find something more, which is what I really love doing is helping other people become the best version of themselves, which has nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah.
It was my vehicle to help me get there.
Absolutely.
That's what you said. And that's where you go all in on some skill set that you have, figure out a way to monetize it, and that just becomes the vehicle to take you where you want to go.
Absolutely.
And I think, why do you think that so few people, is it fear? What is it that holds them back from doing it?
I think it's a lot of things, and it's really in line with what you're talking about with the show, which is kind of the machine, the matrix, and seeing, how few people are actually, doing what we're doing here, which is creating our own lives. And that's kind of a scary thing. It's hugely scary, actually, having to be the leader of your own future, of your own company, really make it or break it and figure out how to fail at your way to success. It's not for everyone. And it really takes some mental beat ups as this process goes on, and it's hugely challenging, but it's the most rewarding thing you can ever do. And the journey is the funnest part. Yeah. Absolutely. Because it's always something new, you're not going to the same place every day. You're not doing the same things. You're not seeing the same people. You're not stapling the same papers and punching the same holes. It's always something that you decide. And whether it's a win or a loss, you own that. And I think that's the absolute number one scariest thing for people, is they're taught that failure is wrong. And you're wrong, and you get a bad grade, and it's a bad result. Whereas anyone who's kind of, in the entrepreneurship doctrine, they know that that's always going to be a part of the journey. And they know how to take those failures and build on them. Like I said, coming through the insurance company, even coming through the pedicab, I saw what worked, what built me up, and I saw how I wanted to do it better the next time. So, haven't been since an entrepreneur, even on the small scale, since 18, and really just kind of soak in it and make some big things happen. It has really given me a great foundation. So that's something I hugely aspire to do with my community and my podcast and my agency, is really show people how to get that foundation, how to start off on a higher level, how to get that mindset of a successful entrepreneur, and really kind of change their way of thinking in that sense, and beat them out of the matrix, and just really figure out how to get them so hyped up that they get that mindset of, I can't, there's no way I can give this up. You can fail, but you can't give up, Yeah. So I think that's the most powerful thing you can have for your mindset.
Yeah, I'm either, and I tell my wife this, either I'm too stupid to give up, or I'm too stubborn. But I jokingly say that, never, there's no such thing as never. It's not now, maybe not today, but there's no such thing as never. There's no such thing as can't. I can choose not to, but don't tell me I can't do something. I don't like my kids using the word can't. I think can't is placing a limiting belief on what we're truly what we can truly do. Our brains are so phenomenal. We have the best computer system ever invented right here.
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever we set our minds to. It's everybody else that's out there that puts limiting beliefs on us.
Mm-hmm.
That says, oh, well, you can't do that. You can't just move to Colombia and now create an income. And then you just prove them wrong.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. Watch me.
Yeah.
And then it happens. So like, I definitely remember that when I first started up my agency about 1.5 years ago. People say, oh, hey, what you been up to? What's going on? I said, well, I'm just starting an online business. And they're kind of like, what? Oh, okay, good luck. Like, yeah, sure thing, Jeff Bezos. Good luck making Amazon, And they just kind of give you this look like you're crazy. And they think you're crazy for the longest time until you start getting those results. Like I remember the first time I ended up getting, first off, that big $15,000 mobile app deal, that just kind of shocked some people. Parents saying, how's the business going? How's the business going? What are you working on? What are you doing? And like I said, that was the very first sale for that business, for any online business I had. And when that happened, it was like, oh, this is real. And so, getting those crazy milestones, they validate it for yourself as much as it does for those other people in your life. But you're the most important person you need to validate your crazy ideas to. Because if you don't believe in it, it's not going to work. So it really has a lot to do with kind of just forging your own path. Like I said, always been that stubborn, creative, hardworking person. Then that was my ingredients. So a lot of other people, they don't always understand your journey. They don't always see your dreams. They don't know what you've invested, time-wise, money-wise, relationships, foundations, all that. They don't know what you've been through to get to where you're at. So it's your journey. Is number one, it's your journey. Yeah, plenty of people won't understand why I just up and go to Colombia, and that's okay. That's not their concern. That's me. That's the life I want to do. And I just had to figure out how to get this vehicle up and running to make that happen for me. So I'm just super, super excited that yes, it is reality. Everything is going bigger and better, and just making this happen,
It's I was meeting with a young adult today at lunchtime, and he just graduated from college, and he just wanted to have a conversation basically about life. Mm-hmm. And we had about a 40-minute conversation. I asked him a bunch of questions, and he's got a degree in economics. Mm-hmm. And I said, by the way, did college ever ask you any of these questions? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, see, that's the secret sauce, bud. I mean, yeah. We need to self-discover who we are. And we talk about, we all have our own journey. But if we don't ask ourselves who we are and what that journey is going to look like, mm-hmm. we take advice from everybody else. But the question is, what does our life look like? And are we truly living it? Or are we living mm-hmm. somebody else's life?
Yeah.
That's what I love about you. Like, you're living your life. It doesn't make a difference whether or not somebody else thinks that moving to Colombia is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. It's your life. It's your journey.
Yeah. And it's crazy being able to create those journeys and make them really happen. One of my absolute biggest achievements that I had on this trip was that I don't set an alarm in the morning. So that was kind of one of my goals of, all right, if I can design my work schedule, if I can block off my calendar till a certain time in the morning, and wake up as I feel like, that to me is like the biggest thing of lifestyle design. I'm sleeping in until I'm rested. I can roll out of bed and take my time and make my coffee and hang out. And that was just a decision that I wanted to do. And then I figured out how to make it happen and work within my schedule and my business and get everything done. So that was kind of a cool accomplishment I had on this trip.
Arne, there is at least I'm seeing a trend, and I think a lot of other people are in your age group. There's a strong trend towards entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? Like, why is it that this next generation of young people, what is appealing about entrepreneurship that is attracting them? Is it they're disenfranchised with the corporate America? Like, just your opinion, where is this coming from?
Yeah, great question. I think it's coming from a lot of places, and I think it's coming from a lot of people like me. You know, if I'm showing up and saying, I don't set an alarm, I'm out in Colombia, I'm going to do a helicopter tour, it gets people's imaginations running wild. Like, oh, I want to do that. I want to figure out how to make that happen. And then at that point, it's really just bridging the gap of those desires and those actions. You know, what does it take before you can design this lifestyle, before you can get those results with your business you need to be able to do that? And that's the biggest, scariest, crazy gap that anyone could ever have to go through in business. And then a lot of people get stuck, or it takes them longer than they thought it would. They don't get the right momentum, the right business model, right progress, and they don't hit that result that they were looking for. But it's always on the horizon, you know, like if they think, okay, if I get, you know, this one sales funnel right, or if I land this one big account, if I get the right Facebook ad that brings me the right people, then I'm good to go. And it's just always that pursuit of making it real. Mm-hmm. So that's what I love about those entrepreneurs, because they don't want to give up, you know, and they'll keep chasing until they do find that perfect funnel or that perfect client that brings their business to the next level and really pushes them over the edge until they, you know, quote unquote, make it. And making it isn't always about, you know, becoming some big crazy millionaire. Like I don't have a ton of money, but I'm making good money, and I'm living way over the cost of living line in Medellin, Colombia, that's for sure. So it's really just about figuring out how to create that vehicle, figure out how to make it well oiled and run and produce, and then building it, having those strong foundations.
And I know millionaires that are miserable. So yeah. I'd rather be, you know, I earn enough income to live a life by design and be happy every day than be a millionaire and be miserable, because I don't know how much time I have on this earth. So I want to make sure that every day, my coach gave me an acronym for life, and it's living in fulfillment every day. Like, that's my goal. It's not about how many zeros I have behind my name. I want to live in fulfillment every single day. And that's the journey that I'm on. Yeah. And it sounds like that's the journey that you're on. It's the journey. And that's the cool part about it.
Absolutely. And like, that's the funniest, craziest part is, you know, you look back on these things that you've been through, and you can laugh at all those terrible moments and all the hardships you had, you know, you're like, oh man, that was crazy. You know, I can't believe I went through that and came out on the other side, you know, with new skills or stronger or better ideas. And really just embracing all the craziness that is this journey, and really figuring out how to design these pieces of it so it builds you stronger every step of the way. And that's just been awesome.
So where do you see, because you do a lot of work in the social media space, where do you see that going? Like, where do you see, try to the best of your ability to go out 5 years? What does sales and marketing look like 5 years from now? Do we still have commercials?
We do, but they're very different. I always said if I somehow stumbled into $20 million, I would try and reinvent the TV advertising industry. So what they get wrong is, how many car commercials have you seen in the last year?
I can't remember, to tell you the truth. I mean, probably a lot, but none of them that have been very memorable. So I don't really remember them, but I'm sure I've seen quite a few.
See, how many cars did you buy in the last year?
1-2 years ago, but
yeah. So that's why TV advertising is terrible. And that's why Facebook advertising is so much crazy different. Like, you can you can tell so many weird details about people and figure out how to put the right messages in front of them at the right time based on even their internet browsing history, based on whether or not they rent or own a home, based on whether or not they have a Jeep or a Cadillac, whether or not they have kids or toddlers or teenagers. TV ads can't do that. So I think there's going to be a huge shift in the paradigm of advertising where it has to get a lot smarter. And one of those things that I'm really excited to be pursuing right now is chat bots for business. So, we've always had the kind of like back and forth bots. You could, have Siri tell you jokes and that kind of thing. But one thing that's really been popping up a lot is building your own chat bots for business. So this can be something that has canned responses and has, yes, no options. What do you want? What are you interested in more? Option 1, 2, 3, and kind of brings them down the rabbit hole. But what that does is it gets people to design their own advertising experience. So it only shows them what's relevant to them because they're in the driver's seat. So I think that's what's really cool about things like the chatbots and things even like the Facebook advertising, where it's so relevant because it's based on what you do, and it knows so much about you. So I'd say in 5 years, it's just going to get a whole lot smarter. It's going to be a lot more digital. I think so many other options out there are going to die off or become less effective as more digital gets adopted. And it's just going to get a lot smarter because everyone's trying to reach everyone, and it's getting busy. So it's kind of like, in a recession, the companies that make it through are the ones that figure out how to be more efficient and adapt and everything like that. So when that happens in the advertising space, so the Facebook advertising is a marketplace, and there are people, bidding to show up in people's news feeds. And as more and more people show up into this marketplace, there is the same amount of space for more advertisers, meaning it's more expensive. So you have to figure out how to do it very efficiently, or you're not going to get the best results. And if you get great results, you're going to keep doing it. But if you don't, you might try and go pursue other avenues for your advertising. And that's kind of the economics of the Facebook advertising marketplace. And I think it's going to be the same thing in a lot of places for the future, figuring out how people can use bots and how to use smarter artificial intelligence and all these things to really get the right message in front of the right people and pull them in. So it's definitely going to be cool to see what happens in the next couple of years. It's anybody's guess, but I think it's just going to get a whole lot more smarter and segmented.
As more people put more information into that social space,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an old guy, dude. So my wife swears that Facebook listens to what she talks about in the house. And I'll give you an example because I don't fully understand this, and maybe you do. Here in the States, I've got 3 kids, and they go to summer camps in the summer. Last year they went to like coding camps for computers.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was just talking to the kids last week about what camps do you want to go to this year, et cetera, et cetera. And she said she logged into Facebook and she started getting ads for kids' summer camps. So she swears that Facebook was listening to her because all of a sudden she's seeing ads about kids' summer camps. How does something – now here's my theory, and you know more than I do probably. My theory is because she said she didn't go on and do any Google searches. Mm-hmm. My theory is, though, last year she did go on and do Google searches. The summer camps know that this is the time of year when people start thinking about summer camps. So they captured her information last year, and then they basically redeployed the ads. Is that what like retargeting is?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think that's a creepy coincidence. So I remember at one time there was it made the news that there was like Sony TVs and like Amazon Echo, because you can do voice commands on them. It made the news that they found out they were always on. And it was like, okay, that's kind of like Big Brother. Okay, that's crossing a line if this thing is always on and pulling out information. So I think that's borderline conspiracy, but I don't know for sure if they're actually taking that and using that for advertising. I would check the fine print on your Amazon Echo in your house. That's for sure. But yeah, chances are it was them just doing their advertising and using previous data or a previous email list or something like that to reawaken that interest in the summer camp. And it was just a crazy coincidence.
All right, let me ask you this one. So last year I'm in Seattle, and we stayed in one hotel that was like Puyallup, Washington, which is outside of Seattle. I left my shoes in the hotel, and we took an Uber from Puyallup to downtown Seattle, and I realized that I'd left my old shoes back, my tennis shoes back at the hotel. The cost of an Uber drive back to Puyallup, I was like, I might as well just go buy a new pair of tennis shoes. So I walked barefoot to the Nike store in downtown Seattle, bought a pair of Nikes, and for the next month, my exact pair of shoes showed up as an ad on my news feed. How do they do that?
Man, okay, that is freaky. That's for sure. Were you searching for anything like nearest Nike?
I went on to Google and looked for a Nike store.
Yeah. Do you think you looked up the price of those shoes to see if it was the same as an Uber?
No, but what I did do is when they asked me if I wanted a receipt, they asked me if I wanted it hard copy or emailed to me. And I said I wanted it emailed to me. So is there some data on that? When I gave them my email address, is there some data on there that says, okay, here's John Newman's email address, and he bought a pair of these types of Nikes? Because it was the exact pair of shoes.
As the ones you lost or the ones you bought?
The ones that I bought.
Yeah. That's crazy. So I think it was probably something like if you looked up, what your next pair of shoes would be on the Nike store, they can track, if you checked them out, if you added them to the shopping cart, and if you didn't, that's when they stalk you for a while. So like, have you ever been looking for something on Amazon? You're like, oh yeah, I need that new microphone. I'll shop and see a few. And you're like, oh, I don't need it just yet. I'll get it later. The next hour, it can show up in your newsfeed on Facebook. Hey, I see you're looking at these microphones. Which one do you want? And it's that smart and it's that fast and it's that effective because a lot of times it works. It sees the books that you were checking out. It sees the items. It sees the services you were thinking about hiring or your local businesses, and is able to follow you around and stay at the top of the mind. So I think that's one of the most powerful things about not only just Facebook retargeting, but like the audience network. So that's all the partner sites, everything like Business Insider, Time, CNN, all those ones where they have deals with them, so they can show up in their banner ad spots. They can show up in these articles, and use the Facebook advertising platform to get into those other outlets. So it's really cool to be able to do that and have that extreme level of targeting, and then just follow people around, get awareness for your stuff, get leads for your stuff, and stay top of mind. And that can work for so many different businesses, and it goes a long way.
So because right now I do a lot of shopping online at Men's Warehouse. And if I go into Instagram, or not Instagram, but any one of those sites, I'll read a news article and all of a sudden I see ads for Men's Warehouse on the news article. How did they know? Like, can a small business do that same type of retargeting, or is it only the
absolutely.
big advertisers?
You could do that with $5. Yeah. So how it works is so you put a piece of tracking code on your site or your landing pages, your opt-in, your sales page, your call here page, or even your entire website. And what that does is anybody that comes onto there that also has a Facebook account gets tracked. So they know that person visited your site. They know who they are. They know their age, all the interests and demographics. And let's say if I was doing something like an open house or something like that, and I wanted to bring in a ton of people. So there would be a couple of ways you could do that. So let's say if you did a video of like one of those cool 360 drone videos or something like that, and just got the best visuals all over the house, and you put that out into Facebook as an ad. You can run that on these different platforms. You can show people this house and say, hey, here's the date, make sure you register here, pop your email in, and we'll send you the address or something like that. And you'd be able to see not only who watched the video, but who watched 10% of the video, 50%, 75, 95. You'd be able to see who saw the video and didn't go to your website. You'd be able to see who saw the website page and did or didn't give the email address. And that's the crazy power of this, is you can do ads to bring people to that every single next step. And I call those funnel maximizer ads. So if somebody only got to the first step and you want them to get to step 3 or 4 or 5 or 7, you can continuously put ads that stitch those bridges together and bring them into that next level. So it's crazy powerful. And like I said, you don't need to be a Target or a Nike to have this crazy retargeting power. Anyone can do it as long as they know how to.
So if I'm somebody, and I'm just getting crazy here, if I'm somebody, and let's say I have a lawnmower repair business, I could probably create some sort of Facebook ad or 10 tips on how to fix your broken lawnmower. And I give them a free whatever that's called. So they go to they see the Facebook ad, how to fix a broken lawnmower, let's just say, and they can download a PDF of the top things that go wrong with a lawnmower. In order to get that, they have to give me their email address.
Yeah.
Now I have their email address, and in that landing page, I have a tracking pixel, I think is what it's called. Once I have that tracking code, I can now run ads, because here's what's going to happen. They're going to download my book on how to fix their broken lawnmower. They're going to say, dude, I don't have time to fix this lawnmower. I just need to hire someone to fix this lawnmower. So I can now retarget that ad.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you would have there is a new audience of people who landed on your page, as well as the ability to follow up via automated email marketing. So we do something called a soap opera sequence. Think of any soap operas. I'm not a soap opera fan, but think of the concept. So it has all these stories that are kind of intertwined, and they're proving a point, and they're broken up on high drama and then epiphanies and then all these things going on, right? So that's what you can build in your email marketing, is figure out how to make it exciting and relevant and prove a point with, as few as 3 and as many as, dozens of automated follow-up emails. So as you're getting these new leads in, they're getting the marketing messaging over and over again. They're being automatically followed up with, and hopefully until they take action. So that's another cool piece about it, is those automated chunks of it. And like, you could go in and create those 3 ads all at once. If you were to make a 10 tips for your broken lawnmower, and then retarget people who saw your video but didn't go to the page, or retarget people who went to the page but didn't put in their email. So you can turn on all that stuff at once, and hopefully you're pulling people in with that. You're following up with email on autopilot, or even better, a lot of times people will have like an email opt-in. So they pop their email in, and then the next page, it'll be like an automated call scheduler. So it's like, okay, I saw you got our 10 tips to fix your lawnmower. How about we just talk about what's going on, see if we can help you out. Just book a call here, or just call us right now. And it can work wonders, especially with types of businesses where you might be very busy, you might be out doing something else, and you need this machine to be running while you're doing that. And you can have people booking calls into your schedule that you set, on autopilot, while you're sleeping, taking a nap, out doing something else, and it can just be hugely valuable. So I think that's what I would say to somebody who says, why use Facebook ads and sales funnels?
Yeah, that sure as heck beats me walking door to door and saying, by the way, I have a lawnmower company. I fix lawnmowers. I mean, just the time that it takes, this saves so much more time. And
Yeah.
it puts that bait right in front of someone that's looking for bait. I mean, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And so earlier I kind of talked about the two types of targeting. And one is all those crazy demographics and web history and all these other things. But the second one is the first two lines of your ad. So what I mean by that is you can automatically qualify and disqualify people with your messaging. So if you said something like, hey, residents of Seattle, is your lawnmower having trouble? Is it? Yeah, it kind of is. Think of any infomercial. It's like, hey, does your cat have a problem with shedding? And if not, they tune out and they keep scrolling. But if they do, then they're like, yeah, I think I kind of do. So the whole point of this Facebook ads is to get people to the very next step. Step number one is break the pattern. The pattern is scroll, like a picture, comment on a friend, scroll. And if you can figure out how to make your ad creative, the first line of your ad copy, make people stop in their tracks, then you're on the right track. And then you have to prove a point now that you've got their attention. Show them why you're relevant, have them consume the ad, have that go to the right person with the right messaging, and make them want to not only click through, but click through, share their email, not only click through and share their email, but actually want to take that action and hire you. So that's kind of the a lot of the factors that go into that. And then the rest of it is in the back end of that sales funnel. The psychology of getting people to jump at your offers or even pay you on the spot for things like an online training or, here's your $50 deposit to fix your lawnmower, and getting people to take action immediately. So that's the power of it and the challenge of it, and something that's really been cool to learn over time, from some of these top guys like Russell Brunson and Dan Henry, and figure out how to make direct response marketing crazy effective.
Hey, Arne, I know there's a lot of real estate people on this show. Do not go hit up Arne and ask him to create your funnels. like talk to me first, Arne. Because this changes the game for a lot of businesses. Like my mind is already spinning. I have friends that own, my cousin owns a painting company. And just with what you just said, boom, I already know how, well, I don't know how to do it. You know how to do it, but I can see how this can work for someone that owns a painting company.
Yeah.
So Arne, is this something, we got a few more minutes. Is this something that you teach? Like, how can people find you and engage you for your services, or do you have a class that you teach on how to do this?
Yeah, great question. So there's a few different ways to work with me. One thing I'm coming out with very soon, I'm super excited for, is a free training on sales funnels. So I call it Funnel Foundations. It has one of my best funnel templates, some copy template in there. And this is more for the people that want to figure out how to kind of DIY and get their hands dirty and learn a few things. But this is actually the exact process I go through for all of my funnel clients. So it's rooted in research. It's really figuring out what your customers' pain points are and problems, and then turn that around to be in your advertising in your sales funnel. So that's what makes it really effective right off the bat, is it takes every assumption out of your marketing. And that's the biggest mistake I see people make. So I'm super excited to put this free training out. It's going to be just crazy jam-packed. And as the page just said, anyone who checks out this free training is going to be entered to win a $500 consulting package from me. And that'll include a complete sales funnel, Facebook ad, email marketing walkthrough. So I'm the type of consultant, I like to just tear everything up tear up the plans, and really break down things that aren't working and figure out how to build you that incremental foundation to make things work a piece at a time. Because you don't want to just make assumptions and jump to the next step. You want to build it strong from the get-go. So that's one thing I'm really good at, and that's what I'm going to be hooking someone up with when they're a part of that free training. So hop on over to my Facebook profile. I actually just posted about the free funnel I'm giving away for that. And if you just drop a comment on that thread and say you're interested, then you'll be entered to win that. So I'm gonna ask you guys got to keep it on the down low. I haven't announced this giveaway to the other people on that list yet. So that'll be fun for another day and get people even more hyped up about this training. But just sneak on in, drop your name in the hat, and what that will be coming out pretty soon here in the next few days. So I'm super excited for that. And the other ways to work with me is like, you can always just reach out, feel free, and apply to grab some consulting from me. I only really like to work with people who I know I can get results for. And I'm a busy guy. So I really just want to work with a couple people and bring them tons of value. I can only do a couple of the done for you a month as well, but that is an option. So if you need to go completely hands off and you want some people to help you out with that, feel free to reach out. If it's not something that's up my alley, I'll be happy to refer you to one of the marketers in the space. So it's pretty much getting started with me looks like this. We'll break down all your goals, figure out what different pieces of those marketing campaigns we need, what you already have, what we need to replace, create, and implement. And it usually takes just a couple of weeks to actually have something up and running, as long as we're not too backed up. So, and if you guys have any just quick questions, feel free to reach out. I'm pretty accessible. Just add me on Facebook, send me a message, say hi, and make sure to let me know you guys came through this broadcast as well. Be happy to share any tips for you guys. So best place to inquire about that would be over at bit.ly/workwitharne. For the consulting there. Christopher wants to, can we hire you to teach my marketing director? Yeah, man, let's talk. Was
that Chris Hart?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's my coach. Great guy.
Oh yeah,
that's my coach. He's done wonders for my life, my business, my relationships. Just all around great guy. So
awesome.
Hey, what's up, Chris? Arne, we're also going to put all of your information on this Facebook feed. We'll also have it on the iTunes link on the YouTube channel. So, and now tell us one more time, how do we register to win this free consulting thing?
Yeah, so hop on over to my Facebook profile. I'll make sure to just drop a comment here with my name so you guys know where to track me down at. Okay. So pretty much it's just going over to my profile, going to that recent post talking about the sales funnel copy template and giveaway. Man, people went crazy for that. There's like 180 comments on there. So I must be onto something, right? So I was super excited to see that. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I've been building up some hype for this for a little while.
Hey, Arne, here's why. And I'll tell you what I've learned in the business world. Everybody out there wants something if the perception is it'll get me great high quality leads.
Yeah, ASAP.
Yeah, ASAP. So Arne, if I'm a real estate agent, figure out a way to get me only pre-qualified buyers that are looking to buy a house in the next 15 days. Can you do that for me?
with the right ad budget and strategy, it's possible. It's possible. But it's going to be a challenge, but yeah.
There's no, and it's the fascinating thing in sales and business, and I'm sure you found this out. There's no easy way to success though. Like you still have to work your tail off.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you're the best person out there, and you sound like you're pretty good, but if you're the best person in the world at creating these funnels, 90% of the people can't afford you anyway because you're the best in the world at it. So, guys, if you're watching this, Arne is awesome, but there's no magic pills for success in life.
Absolutely.
Or business. But that's any business owner, that's what they want. They want leads. Figure out how to get,
especially real estate, because they use the term leads. You know, some people are like, oh, I want patients. You know, they're chiropractic, they want patients. They're e-commerce, they want those conversions. You know, they want the cheap sales. But yeah, it's crazy, and I think that's kind of part of what drew me into the whole marketing thing, was figuring out that it was hugely in demand. You know, having a team that could build you a mobile app or a website or a logo, that isn't as sexy as saying, I have this machine that generates leads. Do you want me to turn it on for you? Right. You're like, yeah, sign me up. Like, how much and how do I get started? So once I kind of figured out that was what I had to do and get good at, that's when I really made that switch and completely dedicated myself to scaling up with it, and just making it happen. And that's really what helped grow my business. So that was crazy, and it's very cool to be able to do something that a lot of people struggle with, which is really having that fully aligned, congruent marketing strategy. Because the thing is, I'll let you guys on a little secret. Facebook ads will not grow your business alone. So you can put out anything you want in a Facebook ad. You can have a giant budget. You can even have a cool ad, right? But if people click through and you lose them, or you don't collect any emails, nothing is going to happen. Or you could collect 1,000 emails and nobody buys anything. There's like, if there's one broken chain in this entire process, then it doesn't get you the results you're looking for. And I think that's what stops people from finding the success they were looking for in marketing, is like they have one or more broken chains in their marketing funnel and they can't even begin to spot where it is. So I think that's definitely one of my strengths as a consultant too, like really running through people's stuff and saying, okay, that makes no sense. You know, I'm confused by that. I think your customers probably would be too. So let's try and switch this up, see if that works, or, you know, tear down this piece that's off-putting, or that's out of alignment. So it's really figuring out how to pull together that marketing machine, and not having the squeaky brakes, or you know, the low air in your tires, or any other broken piece there that's going to even slow your progress down, let alone stop it. So I'd be happy to help you guys out on really getting all of those pieces in order.
And you still have to, and you mentioned this, even if you could deliver all the leads necessary for any business person, if they're not skilled in their craft, if they haven't honed their craft, the leads aren't the problem. The problem is because they're just not good at what they do. So everyone thinks that leads are the challenge, and they are for a lot of people that own businesses, but don't think that just because you have leads, all of a sudden your business grows exponentially just because you have leads.
Yeah. So that's another reason why, like, I have a vetting process for the people I work with, is because I want to see that they have, first off, you know, more of an established business, where it's more fine-tuned. Like, it doesn't matter how well I do my job if they can't fulfill, if they can't close deals, if they can't follow up. So it's understanding that I'm able to bring the most value to the right people. And that's really the best way to get results, is, you know, fine-tuning the sales and marketing machine, and making sure that the support team is there, making sure it's a great organization or even service provider, and that they are doing something great and that they're dedicated. Because if they're dedicated, that's going to make getting the results for them so much easier, you know?
Right. So, Arne, and I'm sorry, I just had a brain freeze there. When it comes to these sales funnels and you're creating the leads. But what I've seen happen many times in businesses is the leads are coming in, but if the salesperson doesn't follow up in a timely fashion, or what they tend to do then is they tend to blame it on you. The problem wasn't me. The problem was Arne gave me bullcrap leads.
Yeah, definitely.
And
so that's like I said, that's why I try and look for people who have the support staff in place, who, if I say, hey, if I get you a lead and it sends you an email and a reminder text message as that lead comes in, are you going to call them? Like, do you have people in place, or is that you, or who is that? Is that possible? Is that going to happen? And it has to be a definite yes, because I let them know, I could do this as best as possible. I could get you dozens of leads, but if nobody's there to follow up quickly, if you don't have a proper system to engage these people going forward and pull them in and get these deals closed, then it doesn't matter. So you're right. It's kind of about figuring out how to identify who's the right person, who's with the right organization to be able to make the most out of what I do. And that's the sauce.
Wow. Arne, this has been, I'm really thankful for you taking your time, because I know for myself as a business person, like, this has been extremely, extremely valuable for me. This isn't some kind of like, fake thing where you have some get rich quick scheme. Like, I learned a ton from this. So I appreciate you for freely giving of your time, because your time is very, very valuable. And hopefully everybody takes you up on this offer to, when possible, free consulting thing. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is we're throwing out, and I think my producer Jeff is out there, we're going to just add something to the mix. So whoever you select as a winner, Arne, we're going to give away a free iPhone or Android phone case.
Nice.
So if anybody drops their phones, it's branded with "Welcome to the Machine." It's pretty cool looking.
I like it.
Arne, whoever you select as a winner, we're going to throw this into the pot. But here's what we're going to add. Please go onto our iTunes page and subscribe to us. You have to like us on Newmanites. And then that winner, as long as they've subscribed to us on iTunes and they have liked our pages, we're going to send them out an iPhone case or Android. I don't care whether you have an iPhone 6, 7, 10, Android, Note 2, 4, 5. We'll ship you
You'll
out.
Find it. You'll find it. Get it branded. I like it.
Hey, Arne, we're going to send you one. Awesome. Just you're awesome. So
thanks, man.
Just tell me what kind of phone you have. You probably have an iPhone, because all you young guys
have
iPhone.
Yeah. How did you know?
I got a Droid. I'm old school. And I'm not going to convert over, because I'm not going into that matrix.
Yeah.
Hey, Arne, this has been awesome. Once again, I appreciate this. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of business together. So all of you real estate agents, stay off of Arne. Actually, go for it. Hopefully this is beneficial to Arne. And
appreciate the opportunity.
And when I'm in Seattle next, or wherever I am, because I'll just see if you happen to be there.
You never know.
Yeah. One last question, Arne, and this is the
sure thing.
What does, this thing is the journey towards fulfillment. What does fulfillment mean to you?
That is the big last question, isn't it? So that's a tough one. That's a fun one. Fulfillment to me means, figuring out what your biggest goals and how you're going to write your story and how you're going to make an impact. That's different for everyone. So you have to really take a look at the things you value, how to get more of those things, how to do it bigger and better, and how to just live a life that you're happy with every day. So I think that has been really cool, in the sense that as I've been able to build this business and go on this trip and really kind of design this lifestyle, I'm having more of those ideal days, thinking about what I really enjoy doing, how I want to do it. I enjoy my work. I enjoy the people I get to, hang out with and collaborate with, like you, all over the world. And it's just very unreal to be doing what I'm doing and having this be my new normal, being able to travel the world, getting all this crazy media exposure, Fast Company, HuffPost, all these podcasts, and you know, making money while I sleep, waking up to PayPal and affiliate payments and you know, accounts receivable coming in, and it's like, this is craziness. And this is my new normal. So it's just figuring out how to do it bigger and better. And really just sticking to, you know, my core goals of my company called Giske Business Network, which everybody I touch becomes a part of it. You know, you're a part of it. Everybody who's watching this is a part of it. You're feeling the story. You're feeling the impact and the motivation. And the people that I serve with my community, my podcast, my agency, that is the fulfillment to me, being able to make that impact worldwide, and then having it reward me in the way that I get to create this life that I really enjoy, and just keep doing it bigger and better. So that's about it for the fulfillment. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It was a ton of fun to share the stories, to share the strategies, and yeah, loved going in deep. And yeah, if you guys want to link up with me, feel free to add me on Facebook, chat me up. I'll be around. Yeah, and don't forget to hop on over to my profile and throw your name in the hat for that consulting giveaway. But keep it a secret. Keep it a secret, guys. I didn't announce it yet, so keep it on the down low. But yeah, go on over there, pop your name in the hat on that thread that has all those comments on it, and that's coming out in just a couple of days here. So I'm super excited to release that one, and I'll see you on the inside of there. And thank you again so much, John.
Hey, no problem, Arne. This has been freaking awesome. And this is John Newman with Welcome to the Machine. And once again, you can find us at Newmanites. That's NEWMANITES on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And hey, guys, please make sure you go out and check us out. If you found value from this, check us out. Subscribe to the podcast. Oh, and Friday, we got some pretty cool things going too. You know, this is live, but we're gonna have some secret stuff coming out Friday, but it will only be deployed on iTunes. So kind of exclusive content. We got some major meetings coming up this week, and you'll find exclusive content on iTunes. So make sure you check us out. Arne, you're an awesome dude. I can't wait to meet you in person. And this is John Newman. Welcome to the machine. We're out.
Yeah. Go rate and subscribe to the show.
You got it. Thanks, guys.